Welcome to Merrychef. I'm from Ice and Oven Technologies in Australia, and we're going to spend a few minutes this morning just to show you how your new oven's going to work, what you can expect to find in your oven, and we're just going to run through some basic cleaning, maintenance and cooking procedures. So if you follow me, we'll go through and introduce you to your new oven now. So this is your new Merrychef 402S oven. Basically what it does is it cooks food at up to 15 times faster than a conventional oven. So we can fry, roast, bake, grill, boil and broil using this oven. As you can see, inside it's only a fairly small compartment, so what we do is we've designed your menu around cooking fresh food fast. When you open your oven up, you'll find inside a number of different accessories. The first accessory is what we call the bread basket. This is a woven Teflon material, and we use this for cooking things like toasting, when we're doing sandwiches, and for also cooking pies and pastry items. And this allows the heat from the base of the oven to penetrate underneath the food and to make sure that your pies are nice and crispy underneath. You'll find in there 2 of your bread baskets in each oven. There'll also be a black silicone mat somewhat similar to this. This is an anti-static mat that we've developed and designed to basically make the cleaning process simpler for you. And we'll show you where that goes in a moment. The next thing you'll find is a metal handle. The metal handle is used basically as the support for the grill tray and grill pan. Some of your ovens won't come with a grill pan set, as those are only designed and designated for the restaurant sites. So if you're a restaurant site, you will find in your package 2 washboard-like, if you like, griddle pans that are corrugated, and that allows us to cook the food and still give the griddle marks, just like it's been cooked on a barbecue. There is also then a base for the griddle pan. The way that that sits on is it simply slots straight on top. The little holes in the side are there to allow the fat that comes from the food to drip into the base pan. So you must remember, after cooking fatty foods, to pour this into the sink or into the grease trap after every cook, just to get rid of the excess oil. The handle simply fits into the actual base of the unit like so, and then allows us to carry it quite easily. So that's only for the restaurant sites, but for every site also, you'll also receive 2 enamelled rectangular trays. And these we use for cooking such items as breaded and crumbed or battered foods, with the exception of things like fish and chips, which we'll explain later. And then last but not, then we have also our pizza paddle. Now the pizza paddle is used for putting items in and out of the oven. So you can use it to put the tray in and out of the oven, like so, holding the handle to make sure that you don't burn yourself. You can also use things like pizzas, can go straight from the paddle into the oven onto the grill rack. The next thing that you have as well will be a large gastronome tray like this. Once you get this tray, we recommend that you fill it full of water or ice and place it in your deep freezer to freeze, just like this one here. That one is used as our cool down pan, and that's what we call it. The other items that you'll find in the oven are things such as the base. This is what we call our rack. And the rack is used basically to allow air to circulate underneath the food whilst it's being cooked. We also have what we call our bottom impinger plate. The bottom impinger plate is basically a plate that sits on the base of the oven and allows air to circulate and be shot into the food through the tiny little holes that you can see on its surface. That simply just pulls out using the little handle knob on the top here. That just slides out of the oven. There's no need to unscrew anything there. The next thing that comes out is what we call our top impinger plate. And you'll see just underneath here, on either side, are 2 small silver nuts. Those are to be done up just hand tight and then undone clockwise. Once you continue to look, what will happen is the impinger plate will actually drop from the surface of the oven, and then you can obviously just grab hold of that and pull it forward at an angle. So this is the top impinger plate, and again, like the base impinger plate, large holes in it that allow the hot air to blast through to cook the food. And last but not least, in the very rear of the oven, you'll find the grease filter. So the grease filter can just be pulled forward, lifted out and taken from the oven. Then the assembly can actually be separated, which just slides out. So now we have the grease filter assembly and the actual grease filter itself. And what you'll find after cooking, this will change from the silver colour that it is now and will become black or dark brown. Don't worry about that, that's perfectly normal, that just means that it's doing its job. You will notice though that a very important part of this is that the base of both the grill assembly, grease filter assembly, and the grease filter are beveled at the edges. You must make sure that these slide in the same way. So basically we take the both beveled edges pointing in the same direction and they are slid together into place. Like so. Once they're locked in place, they click into place and then they fit back in the oven. If you do by any chance turn these around and put them in the wrong way, like so, what will happen is that the grease filter will not sit properly inside the assembly and it will cause the grease filter assembly to fall out during the cooking process. So if you do find that, please make sure that you put this in the correct way. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to replace all of the parts and the items that we've taken from the oven and turn the oven on ready to cook. So the first thing we'll do is we'll place our grease filter assembly back together. Again, making sure that the beveled edges are in the same place. So we simply take the beveled edges and we drop it into the side, push it down to click. That then goes into the oven with the handle piece facing forward and it drops into the back of the oven, like so, and then pushes in until it clicks. The next thing that we need to place into the oven is our silicone grease filter mat. That basically will go on the base of the oven and slides to the very back. We then take our bottom impinger plate, which is the black impinger plate, and we place that on top of the silicone mat, making sure that we don't crease the mat up in the process. We'll then take our top impinger plate and we'll place that into the oven. So what we're trying to do is locate the top two screws on top of the microwave guards, and the impinger plate will slide in and up onto the oven at about a 40-degree angle until it goes into the back of the oven. We then lift that into place and tighten it up anti-clockwise until it's finger tight. Once it's finger tight, just turn 1/4 back clockwise and the oven is then located. The last thing to go in is the rack, and again the rack only goes in one way. If you notice on the back of the rack, the back support is actually higher. This goes at the back and at the top of the oven because this stops any trays from hitting the rear of the oven and damaging the grease assembly. So that just slides and sits onto the top of the oven there. The oven is now fully assembled, so what we want to do is to close the door and we'll turn the oven on. So on the front of the oven here, there are a number of buttons. What we do is make sure that first of all, the oven is switched on at the power point. So we check our power point connection, make sure that it is switched on, and then we turn the machine on at the front. As you can see, the oven information comes up on the screen that tells you how many times the oven has been used, how long it's been on, how many times the door has opened, and what the current menu is. That screen disappears and then a logo will come up to basically say that your oven is now in the heating up mode. So it starts off, your oven will be set to 275 degrees centigrade, and at the moment it's showing that the cavity is cold. Once the oven is warmed up, you will see that the logo appears and that the oven menu categories then come up on the oven front. So the first button that we have here says vegetable and potato, sandwiches and toasties, breakfast, pork, bacon and lamb, sausages, breaded chicken, frozen fish, battered chicken products. You can see the small down arrow flashing just here means that there is also another menu screen hidden behind there. And if we press that button, it comes up with pies and pasties, frozen beef and veal, microwave setting, a browning setting, beef steak, fresh chicken, desserts, and SCS, that's Specialty Chicken Services chicken. If we go back to the first menu now, and we press our vegetable and potato category, a number of different things come up on the front screen. The first one says FB Spring Roll ×2. F on all of the menu programs stands for frozen, and B always stands for basket. So in this case, frozen spring rolls ×2 placed on the bread basket, which we showed you earlier, and then placed into the oven. As we go down a page, you'll see that in this case there's also CT tomato, 1 tray. C stands for chilled, T stands for tray. So we're going to take chilled tomatoes, place them onto a tray, and then place them into the oven. We also now have AT roast potatoes, 1 tray. A stands for ambient, T stands for tray. So ambient roast potatoes, peeled fresh potatoes with a little bit of oil on the tray, placed into the oven. On this case here, we have FT. So again, F stands for frozen, T for tray, onion, 1 tray. So it's a simple category that you'll find repeats itself throughout the menu system. To go back to the menu at any point, you can press this button here with the upside down triangle. That is the cancel button, or takes you back to the previous screen. So if we take that now, we're back in our main menu category again. We now press pork, bacon and lamb. Again, C for chilled, T for tray, bacon, 1 tray. That's 1 tray of bacon placed onto the tray. Pork riblets, frozen. On the tray, pork riblets ×2. On this one, chilled, on the tray, CT, dim sims ×2. Again, if we look at our down menu, FT, again F for frozen, T for tray, ham croquettes ×2. We'll now go back to the main menu again, and we'll press the down button to find fresh chicken. Press fresh chicken, and again CT, so it's all chilled, breast fillets ×8, ×4 or ×2, and there you can go into the tray, and then the wings again onto the tray. There's also a setting for a full roast or a half roast chicken, but be aware that these are size 11 and 12 chickens, not size 16 chickens. Going back to the main menu, and we can go down to beef steak. Okay, so here we have a different setting, CG. G stands for griddle tray. So this menu will only really be used on the restaurant menu site, on the restaurant menu sites, not on every site, as you do not have griddle trays. So C for chilled, G for griddle, fillet steak, rare, 250 grams. So there's a selection of different things that are available for you there. FG, frozen, on the griddle tray, a burger ×1. So what we'll do now is we'll go over and cook some of the items that you'll find on your menu, just to show you how we lay out the baskets and how we actually put the dishes together and what accessories we're going to use during the cooking processes. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to cook one of the items that you'll find on your menu, and it comes as a frozen breaded chicken, and that's chicken wing beans. So the first thing that we need to do is just a light spray of a canola or any sort of cooking oil onto the rectangular tray. So we're just going to give that a light coating of oil, and then we're going to place that